heart of the rugged, unforgiving mountain range, where jagged obsidian peaks tore at the darkened, starless sky, a small camp was set. A group of seasoned explorers, fearless, hardened by years of expeditions, had planted their tents on a high, cold ridge. They were drawn by the promise of the remote wilderness, unconcerned with the landscape's utter lack of mercy. As the sun bled below the horizon, casting long, bruised shadows across the valleys, the adventurers gathered around their small fire. The warmth of the flames danced across their faces, while their laughter and familiar tales of past triumphs pushed back against the encroaching night. But beyond the low roar of the fire, the vast wilderness was utterly, unnervingly silent. A heavy, primal dread hung in the cold air, a silent acknowledgement of a danger that was not natural. The explorers cut short talk of setting up time-lapse cameras. Their small weather radio confirmed the massive storms they sought to photograph were still days away. Unbeknownst to them, their merriment and the scent of their cooking had already drawn the attention of a creature as ancient as the mountains themselves. From the depths of the shadowed forest, the Yeti emerged. Its massive, hulking form moved with impossible grace. Its sheer weight should have crushed the ice, but its passage made only a gentle, rhythmic, crunching sound in the frozen snow, a noise barely audible over the fire's crackle. With the silent determination of a patient hunter, the Yeti approached the camp. Its massive silhouette briefly cast a dark, towering shadow across the ridge, looming over the perimeter of the tents like a patient sentinel. Inside, the campers slept on, oblivious to the terrifying scale of the threat that stalked the edges of their small, makeshift sanctuary. Sometime deep in the night, Nathan, one of the adventurers, stirred restlessly. A primitive awareness, the profound, visceral feeling of being watched, scraped at the edges of his subconscious. Groggy and disoriented, he slipped out of his tent. His senses screamed in alarm that had nothing to do with the freezing temperature. He scanned the darkness, seeing only the vast, empty night and the black lines of the surrounding trees. And then he felt it. He didn't see the creature, but he felt the absence of light it created. A shadow, impossibly deep and dense, moved among the distant firs, its immense form momentarily obscuring the starlight. Adrenaline surged through him. Nathan spun back, rousing his companions from their slumber.
"Something's out there! It's massive!"
he hissed, his voice raw with fear. They tumbled out of their tents, rifles and axes in hand, but by the time they emerged, the Yeti had vanished. The rest of the night was a desperate vigil. Contained within the tent, each explorer was shivering, but not from the cold. The dread they felt was far deeper than the mountain climate. A low whisper of a voice suggested it might have been a polar bear. Another grimly reminded them that this region carried almost no wildlife. Certainly nothing of the size Nathan described. Nathan, the only one to have witnessed the shadow, remained silent. He knew it hadn't been a bear. He couldn't bring himself to explain that he knew simply from the depth of the shadow. The first bleak light of dawn slowly crept over the land. Nathan was the first to poke his head outside, seeing nothing but the rising sun and the smooth, vast blanket of snow. As he slowly moved out, his eyes followed a series of impossibly large three-toed footprints that circled their camp. They came within inches of their tents, close enough to crush the thin fabric with a casual step. In the stark morning light, Nathan stood in silent, shaking horror. The Yeti had come. It had been there, watching them the entire time. It could have ripped their tents to shreds, torn them apart, and erased any trace of their expedition. But it hadn't. Their story would sound like a myth, a ghost story told around a fire. There was no fur, no claw marks, no broken branches, only the fragile, ephemeral snow, which would soon melt or be swept away by the coming storms they had originally sought. The Yeti had simply observed them, leaving behind only the undeniable, terrifying scale of its footprints in the snow, and an unshakable memory of its colossal indifference.